Hi, and thanks for being a Jones Fiduciary Wealth Management client. In this video, we're going to cover how to look at and get the most out of your quarterly performance reports. So at the end of every quarter, actually about a week after the end of each quarter, you will get a notice that your quarterly performance report is ready to be viewed in your client portal. When you view it, it will show up as a PDF. And so in that PDF, you'll get, of course, the title, table of contents, and then you will start to see your quarterly performance statement. It'll tell you what the start period is, end period is. It will tell you that almost everything is using internal rate of return to report these returns. And it will let you know if there's any contributions, withdrawals, net transfers, expenses, and then what your total gains were, and then your return for the reporting period. So there's a lot of stuff in this report, and so because of that, I think it can be not that different from statements in that it can be confusing to look at. So here, what this is doing is looking at your total of all your accounts and looking at since inception, 1 year, year to date, and this report period, which matches these numbers up here. Down below are the same indexes I like to use throughout everything that you look at as a client. The 60-40 portfolio is a 60% stock, 40% bond portfolio. That's the type of portfolio that 80% of advisors are going to have, or I would probably say all advisors are going to have 80% of their clients in that portfolio. Clients may also have maybe 10% of their clients in this 80-20 portfolio, and they probably have 10% of their clients into something even more conservative than the 60-40 portfolio. I like to add in the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF. I think that's a pretty good indicator of what our benchmark should be, but depending on your portfolio, we could choose a different benchmark. So as you go through here, you'll see that your top performing securities, it just lists them out, and these returns are based on the report period. You'll get performance versus the benchmark in general, and again, there are your benchmarks for the stated time frame above in each column. As you go through this, you'll see that there is a performance by individual holding. And so you can see these individual holdings. Be careful, you may get a report that shows you a bunch of information, but shows that you have an ending market value of $0, which means obviously you don't own that anymore. So just be careful when you're looking at those. And as you go through here, it'll show you each individual. There could be some holdings that are excluded from the total. Those might be things that are, maybe they're a real estate fund which hasn't started investing yet. There are a couple exceptions, but for the most part, they're going to be on here. And they will be itemized by what type of holding they are. You can see that real estate LP, if you have one of the Jones Real Estate Access Funds, will be in its own separate section. And Wickersham, if you are one of the few clients that invested in that, will be in another section. And then as you go through here, it will continue to let you know pretty much any way you want to see it, what the return has been on those funds. So pretty simple. That's how you look at the performance aspect of this. If you go all the way to the bottom of this, you actually are going to see a billing detail. And so this is essentially your invoice for the quarter, and it tells you most of what you need to know on how you're being charged. Most of you probably know that my standard billing rate starts at 1.25 for the first 500,000, 1% for the next 500,000, and then every million after that, it continues to go down. Now, what you'll notice with some of these accounts, so this first account, the billable balance is $258,000 there, and it's also $258,000 there. And that indicates that everything in that balance is being billed at this rate here. You'll find it odd, though, that even though this billable balance is less than $2 million and $3 million, it's still showing a fee generated by that amount. And the reason is the total account balance for this family is above $3 million. And so it is taking and aggregating all of those amounts and giving this account the credit for the total account balance. And so it's saying, all right, well, and it does this proportionately. And it shows you that some is being charged at each rate of this balance. It's really just showing it proportionally. Down here, really more of the same. Here's an interesting one where we have a billable balance of $1.2 million. We have the Wickersham 1% flat of $250,000. That's because for those clients that had that, there was a smaller fee charged, and then and then you get a billable balance down here for the rest of the account of 7.84. Now, there can be some weird things going on, or at least they look weird, where the 1.284 minus the 250,000, you would expect a number closer to 1 million. There's another amount in here that's not showing up, and that's because it is excluded from billing. The Jones Fiduciary Wealth Management real estate funds are excluded from billing for the purposes of actually charging a fee, but they are included in the total balance so that it can help clients obtain these lower billed tiers. And so that's why there's a difference there. Most of the accounts are going to show up where that account number is the same as, or that balance is the same as that balance, and the total amount will make sense. And then if you go through each account and finally you get to the bottom, you can figure out that here's the total account balance, here's the total amount charged. So this is a quarterly amount that amounts to, on an annual basis, that is just under 30,000. And so if I divide this number, so if I multiply this number by 4, that gives us the annual amount. And then I divide by the billable balance. In this case, that would give us roughly 30,000 for the annual amount. Divide that into this 3.3, and we get a billed amount, or a billed fee of around 88 basis points. So that's a general way that you can look through these billing payments and read your invoice. Obviously, if there's anything you have a question on, feel free to reach out. We'll walk through it together and make sure that everything is to your satisfaction and, more importantly, to what we agreed on. All right, so that's how you read your quarterly performance statement and also the quarterly billing summary.